Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Wider channel. In today's episode, I'll share a little bit about myself and my backstory. I'll then introduce you to the 2016 Can-Am Spyder that I picked up and go over what we found out so far. I'm also going to share with you some of the content creators that inspired me to take you all along on this journey with me. So without further ado, let's get this show started. My love of open-air riding started when I was quite young, when my dad would take my sister and I on rides on his friend's mini bike. He soon after acquired a Honda Big Red three-wheeler from my grandpa. My sister and I would ride it around my grandpa's property, and on rare occasions my dad would load it up and take it up to his friend's cottage, where I would follow him and his friend around on the trails with their dirt bikes. As I got a little older, I was allowed to ride our 1970s Kawasaki 250 dirt bike, which was a little easier to get up and down the trails. Fast forward to when I was 20, I purchased a 1998 Honda CBR 600 F3 Smokin' Joe Race Edition. And in those days, if it didn't have snow on the ground, you can bet I was riding that bike. That lasted for a few years until I became a father. And having the expense of something so impractical back in those days was just not in the cards. In the years that followed, I lived vicariously through my dad. He and his friend had gone down the path of buying gold wings, and man, was I envious. As I got a little older and my career paths allowed for me to have a little more financial freedom, I purchased a 2000 gold wing for myself, and about a year later added the bucket list item of a Suzuki GSX-R 1000. About 15 years ago, I injured my back, which caused some numbness and weakness, and my fears ultimately got the best of me, and I sold the bikes. Over time, with the help of an excellent physical therapist who is also a great friend, I was able to regain strength and some stability. As with most people these days, I got bit by the divorce bug. I have since remarried to an amazing woman who supports all of my crazy whims, even when she knows she probably shouldn't. Our toy collection has now 4 Skidoo snowmobiles and a Sea-Doo, but still no road toy. On many occasions, I've brought up the subject of getting another bike, and she reminds me of the story of her dad getting into a significant bike crash when she was quite young, and the fact that her profession as a respiratory therapist at a trauma center reminds her pretty regularly how badly bike accidents damage people. She tells me that I'll never catch her on a motorcycle. One day on a trip up north, being the amazing supporting wife she is, indulged me when I wanted to stop at the power sports dealer in the town we were in so I could look at what fun toys they had. They had something I hadn't given much thought to, a Can-Am Spyder RT. I asked her to come sit on it, and surprisingly she climbed up and said, "This isn't too bad." The gears started turning immediately and the hunt was on. A couple weeks passed by and the research brain was in full effect, learning everything there was to know about all the different years and models of Spyders. I knew I wanted a 2014 to 2019 that wasn't going to break the bank. I'm someone who likes to find something broken and breathe new life into it, so when I found our 2016 Spyder with an unknown problem causing it to not run, I was on it immediately, worked out a deal that neither of us could refuse, and Spyder was back home in my driveway the same day. The seller had purchased it from an acquaintance as a project for himself and was quite candid in his lack of knowledge about what could be wrong with it, and knew he was in over his head. All he could offer for information was that it had a ton of miles on it because the original owner had ridden it from Michigan to Florida many, many times, and that he had no idea what happened to the mirrors. The day after getting it home, I went out and bought a battery and attempted to fire it up. I was delighted when I turned the key to hear the fuel pump turn on and the dash light up. It was then that I discovered that the seller was not kidding when he said it had a ton of miles on it. I did a double take as I looked at the odometer that displayed over 130,000 miles. Yeah, that's right. I said 130,000 miles. It turned over with the starter but never fired. I pushed it back into the garage and turned the old research brain back on, visiting every forum, Facebook group, and YouTube channel I could find to get some sort of idea what goes wrong with these machines. Somewhere in the forums I found a post that said to simultaneously press the mode and select and push in the blinker cancel to read the codes stored in the computer. It showed a low voltage code and a camshaft position sensor code. With what I read about there being a new replacement for the cam position sensor and the off chance that there might be a quick fix, I purchased and installed the sensor. While trying again to start it, I had a terrifying experience as it sounded like a gunshot went off and a flash from under the front of the seat followed by the smell of burnt plastic. I immediately opened the seat and found the gas cap was broken, along with some of the plastic that goes between the cap and the engine compartment. A quick, easy fix is just not what this thing wants for me, and YouTube has so few people doing DIY on these that I've decided to bring you all along on this journey to get this running again. I also want to take a minute to give some credit to the YouTubers that helped and inspired me to fire up this channel. Links to their channels are in the description below. Sean Smoke and the Smokes Vlogs, Coach Bob at CoachBob3, and It's Yours Own It, John and Miriam's travel vlog, and last but not least, Goon Squad, who I've subscribed to and watched since their first year on YouTube. Congrats on all your successes, fellas. If you want to join me on this adventure, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when the next episode hits. Also, if you like it, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows to recommend this to others. Lastly, if you have any suggestions or ideas that might point me in the right direction with this thing, please leave them in the comments below. That's all I have for this one. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you on the next one.